r/AskReddit.
What historical events are so absurd that they would be too strange for a fiction story or a movie?
A response to the post.
The Toronto Circus riot of 1855. The fire department and some clowns get into a disagreement at a whorehouse, and get into a punch-up. The clowns win, but the firemen return to the circus later and start attacking in revenge. The firemen win the day, but violence is stopped when the militia come in. The police do nothing, so the city fires all the police, and I mean everyone, and starts a new police force.
A response to this comment.
This absolute absurdity of this paragraph amazes me. What the fuck?
A response to the post.
Back in the 1780s, after being elected president, George Washington decided to send a letter to Congress that basically said, "Hey, looking forward to working with y'all, this will be exciting." However, George wasn't very eloquent, and was generally busy and stressed, so he asked his friend James Madison to compose the letter to Congress, which James did. When Congress received the letter, they decided to respond in kind, not wanting to slight the new president. They wanted to send back a letter that essentially said, "We're glad you're excited, so are we." They decided there was no one better in Congress to write the letter than their very own, James Madison. So, James writes a response to the letter he wrote in the first place, and Congress sends it to George. George decided to respond with something along the lines of, "Oh, good, I'm excited that you're excited, too." And since his buddy James did such an excellent job with the first letter, George again went to him and had him compose the response. Congress received the letter and, again not wanting to be awkward and ignore the president, decided to reply with yet another letter that basically said, "Hey, we're excited that you're excited that we're excited." And once again, they had James Madison compose the response. So James Madison, future fourth president of the United States, wound up writing himself 4 letters back and forth between George Washington and Congress, and was too embarrassed to tell anyone about it while it was going on. /Edit. A few people have asked for a source, and I googled my little heart out and finally found the following snippet in an editor's note on the initial letter George Washington sent to Congress. https://founders.archives.gov/documents/madison/0112020078 https://founders.archives.gov/documents/madison/0112020078 Emphasis mine. Greater than at their Mount Vernon meeting, Washington and JM agreed that the Humphreys draft, which contained numerous legislative proposals, should be discarded in favor of a brief address that deliberately omitted specific recommendations to Congress. The one recommendation which the President made in his inaugural, that Congress consider amendments to the Constitution, was one that JM had much at heart. If the passage on amendments suggests the pen of JM, a remark by Washington in his note of May 5, 1789 clearly points to him as the author of the address. Notwithstanding the conviction I am under of the labor which is imposed upon you by public individuals as well as public bodies, yet, as you have began, so I would wish you to finish, the good work in a short reply to the address of the House of Representatives. Thus in the opening series of formal exchanges between the President and Congress, JM was in dialogue with himself. Having composed the inaugural, he drew up in turn the address of the House of Representatives in reply to the President, 5th of May, the President's reply to the House address, 8th of May, and for good measure the President's reply to the Senate address, 18th of May. This was by far the most official account I can find of this anecdote, and I hope it's helpful for those looking for more information.
A response to this comment.
One time I had a friend call me and tell me how she was having a conflict with someone whom she did not name and, being at different schools, I assumed I did not know. I analyzed what I thought the other party was trying to accomplish and suggested an angle to approach resolution from. The next day my other friend calls me and says she was in an argument with her friend, but now that friend seems to want to make up and is asking what she can do to fix the situation. So I told friend 2 to tell friend 1 what I'd already prepped friend 1 to hear from a successful reply to her overture. They both thanked me later for helping them solve their problem so diplomatically. I felt like a supervillain.
A response to the post.
1 Pujol Garcia https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/1_Pujol_Garc %C3% Ada, World War II spy who won both the German Iron Cross and Order of the British Empire for spying. He initially approached British intelligence and offered his services, and was refused. Undeterred, he created the persona of a loyal Nazi supporter, became a German agent, gathered a payroll of fake sub-agents, all bankrolled by Germany, persuaded the German Navy to chase a fake convoy, then finally got recruited by the Allies. He finally fed misleading info to the Axis about the D-Day landings, causing them to deploy forces to the wrong locations, even after the invasion had begun.
A response to this comment.
Greater than on occasion, he had to invent reasons why his agents had failed to report easily available information that the Germans would eventually know about. For example, he reported that his fabricated Liverpool agent had fallen ill just before a major fleet movement from that port, and so was unable to report the event. To support this story, the agent eventually died and an obituary was placed in the local newspaper as further evidence to convince the Germans. The Germans were also persuaded to pay a pension to the agent's widow. Truly incredible. Greater than the Germans paid Pujol $340,000 to support his network of agents, which at one point totaled 27 fabricated characters.